By the end of World War II, Germany was running out of everything except desperation. Cities were rubble, alibis were thin, and this rocket was supposed to change the ending. It didn't. It killed civilians in London and Antwerp, made craters instead of victories, and proved one thing real clear. The future had arrived wearing a body count. The V2 showed up late to the party, like a bad idea that didn't get the memo the war was almost over. Tall, black and white, and silent on the launch pad, it didn't look like a weapon so much as a confession that had finally decided to speak. The men who built it weren't heroes. They were technicians with clean hands and dirty consciences, already packing their bags for the next employer. The rocket didn't care who signed the checks. It just wanted to fly. When the war finally exhaled its last breath, the V2 didn't go to the scrapyard. It got adopted. Stripped down, rebranded, given a new story about science and progress. Same bones, same sins. A different flag stitched onto the tin. The 20th of June, 1944, the V2 rocket becomes the first artificial object to travel into space. Then, on October 24, 1946, a modified V2 takes the first photograph from space. Launched from White Sands, New Mexico, to an altitude of 65 miles up. USSR, late 1950s. Apartments were small, lines were long, and conversations were shorter, especially in public. On the surface, it was all progress and promises. Underneath, it was the same old deal. Loyalty first, truth last, and hope rationed just enough to keep people moving. Sputnik went up on a cold night in 1957. In Washington, the phones lit up. In Moscow, the smiles stayed quiet. The newspapers called it a scientific triumph, which was true as far as lies go. What it really was a warning shot fired straight up. If they could put this over your head, they could put something heavier there too. Sputnik 1, the first artificial Earth satellite, launched by the Soviet Union on October 4, 1957, shocking the world. Sputnik didn't spy, didn't photograph, didn't drop a thing. It didn't need to. Its existence did all the talking. The age of looking up with wonder clocked out that night. The age of looking down with suspicion punched in. The first satellite image of Earth was captured on August 14, 1959, by the US Explorer 6 satellite, showing a crude black-and-white view of the sunlit Pacific Ocean. While a camera on a V2 rocket captured the first view from space in 1946, Explorer 6 provided the first actual orbital satellite photograph. Tyros 1, 1960, captures the first television images of Earth from space, and first weather satellite pictures shown here. The dawn of the spy satellite era. In the 1960s, the spy satellite program was the kind of operation that wore a clean suit over a dirty job, and Corona was its best hustler. While politicians smiled and shook hands, these birds went up in secret, snapping black and white photos of missile fields and air bases from 100 miles up, turning whole nations into negatives. No live feeds back then, just film canisters kicked loose from orbit, falling through the sky like guilty consciences, scooped out of mid-air by planes that pretended this was all routine. It was paranoia done with precision, a quiet deal between gravity, optics, and fear. And for the first time in history, nobody had to guess what the other side was hiding. They could see it, grainy and undeniable, framed in silver halide and Cold War nerves. Enter the modern era. A Delta II lit up the Florida night, September 6, 2008, turning darkness into daylight for a few hot seconds, and then the satellite was gone, riding fire and contracts into low Earth orbit. Down on the ground, they called it commercial imaging, called it transparency, but everyone in the room knew this was a sharper eye than most governments like to admit. Geoeye 1 didn't blink. It climbed, settled in, and got to work, peeling cities down to their bones, reading shadows like alibis, finding the truth in pixels measured in inches. Geoeye 1. At the time of its launch, it is the world's highest resolution commercial Earth imaging satellite, with a resolution of around a half meter, about 16 to 20 inches. The National Geospatial Intelligence Agency and Google paid a combined $502 million for the satellite and upgrades to ground stations. Satellites used to just watch. Now they notice. They sit up there in their clean orbits, trench coats swapped for algorithms, staring down at the world with eyes sharp enough to catch a lie in the dirt. The images come in clean, high-resolution, true color. Every rooftop and road laid out like a case file. But the real work happens after. Software starts asking the kinds of questions humans miss. Why did that patch of ground change color overnight? Why did shadows shift where no building permit was pulled? Why is there heat where there shouldn't be, or nothing where something used to be? From orbit, there's no such thing as coincidence. Patterns repeat, absences stand out. And the higher the resolution gets, the harder it is for secrets to stay buried. The planet has become a crime scene photographed from above, updated daily, annotated by code that doesn't sleep. They called them fairy circles, but there was nothing whimsical about them. Out in the Namibian desert, the grass grew where it was allowed to, and nowhere else. Perfect rings punched into the earth like somebody took a cosmic compass and pressed hard. No bodies, no footprints, just dead zones, clean and deliberate, surrounded by life that looked nervous about getting too close. The sun beat down like an interrogation lamp. They sat there, millions of them, stretching to the horizon. Death rings over 1,000 miles along the skeleton coast, from Angola to South Africa and even Australia. The skeleton coast. Namibia's desolate, fog-shrouded coastline, named for the whalebones and numerous shipwrecks scattered along its shores, a result of treacherous currents and dense fog. Shipwrecks lay scattered along the beach, ribs of steel and wood sticking out of the sand like bones in a shallow grave. What is wrong with this place? Are the death rings the souls of these dead sailors, soaked into the sands, lost in time? Some locals say they're the footprints of the gods, or toxic gas under the ground. Or maybe the planet has a virus. For the first time, we can spot these mysteries from space. With these new commercial satellites, we can spot and track things like never before. We've known about them since at least the 1970s, the locals likely for much, much longer. But new satellite technology is peeling back the layers one by one, pixel by pixel. Some say it's termites, bugs, little organized gangs chewing roots, carving out turf underground. Others blamed poisoned soil. My thoughts. Plants fighting dirty for water in a town where every drop was already spoken for. Sounded reasonable. The best scientific analysis currently emphasized that the self-organization of vegetation is the only theory that is consistent with all field observations, while all other theories have serious shortcomings. Out in tough places where water is scarce, plants can't afford chaos, so they quietly organize without anyone calling the shots. Each plant pulls moisture from the ground around it, leaving a small dead zone nearby, which pushes its neighbors just far enough away to survive. Do that 1,000 times over, and the land starts arranging itself into stripes, spots, or circles, like a crime scene that cleaned itself up. No mastermind, no plan, just plants reacting to pressure, and the pattern showing up after the fact, the way the truth usually does. Death Rings of Namibia. File number 84-166. Case closed. The satellites don't solve the mysteries themselves. They just make sure the mysteries can't hide anymore.